Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Rick Herbst here. I have an announcement at 2 o'clock p.m. on Friday, this upcoming Friday, which will be the 22nd at 2 p.m. Ellie Leonard from the Panicked Unpaid Writer and me, Rick Herbst from the Adverse Action Daily, will be doing a live, and I want to announce it up here up front for you to put on your calendars. Thank you so much. Real quick before we get going, I want to have two separate call outs here today. They're both in my article if you read that from the Adverse Action. We have, first off, it is Ellie Leonard, and she is the Substack person for the Panicked Unpaid Writer. And it's a great Substack, and her latest thing that she wrote and has a lot of great content in is the sexual accusations against Donald Trump. It's a great article. I recommend it highly. The second call out I want to do is to the Banner and Backbone. It's a relatively new Substack here, but as I've read them and have got into their articles and their work, they are really doing a great job with media of all kinds. They did a 24-hour launch event in there, and I want to give them a call out as well. I want to put their name and their Substacks both on the banner here. So I hope you'll be able to visit them, check them out. Thank you. Hey, good morning, friends. Thank you for joining me today here. This is the Adverse Action Network. I'm Rick Herbst. I'm your host. Hey, we're going to get into a few things today that I didn't have a chance to get into with my article. If you haven't seen it yet, it is out, and I will provide a link in the comments below for that. But today I want to cover a few items that are on the national news as well as the world stage as well. So first up, the headlines we have from the Wall Street Journal reveals that there are going to be over 60,000 reservists called into active duty for the invasion of Gaza. Israel is going to take that over, and world leaders around the globe have roundly rejected this. And of course, Donald Trump has not considered Zionism and activism for an Israeli state versus Jewish anti-Semitism, which is directly aimed at people who are anti-Jewish, largely do not support what is happening in Gaza. It is being called a genocide by our folks, and it is called that by many, many, many Jews who live here as well. Okay, then we are also in the national news out from the New York Times today. There is a finding in a new set of studies about the Democratic polling shows that Democrats across the nation have basically dropped 30% in their voter registrations, and that's been lost over the last year. Here's the concern, or here's the proposition I'll give to you. First of all, Democrats have become roundly unpopular because of their lack of opposition and articulating what that opposition is to the Republican takeover and the fascist takeover of our government. And yet the Democrats go every single day without speaking out, without doing much, except for a handful of them. People like Murphy, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, all of those, they're different. They're not really even in the what I call mainstream Democratic flow. Let's talk about Gavin Newsom and his fantastic parodies of Donald Trump and playing that right back at him, which I think is politically brilliant. Those are people who I think are ready to basically co-opt, take over the infrastructure of the Democratic Party. There's been rumors, of course, that Elon Musk is getting ready to do that with his billions and billions of paper dollars, which really, when you start thinking about it, add up to just about monopoly money. I mean, not that he isn't fantastically rich, but it is not really a wealth that equals the amount that is stated on paper. His intentions and goals to create another political party are just that. They're huge, insurmountable almost, as I've checked into and found out, obstacles that would put something in the way of doing much more than just running for as an independent in the 2026 election. Ken Martin, who is the current leader of that particular National Committee. Phew, I'm not so sure he's so capable of leading them anywhere, as he has not been able to demonstrate an ability to do that since before this started, back on January 20th with Trump. In any case, we are really facing a hard time ahead with Democrats losing voters. There is a huge opportunity now in 2025 to begin a co-opting process and take these smart, great people and get them into the party and get them supported and lifted up. My printed article, or written article, I should say, is out, and I would invite you to read it if you have the time and inclination. I really would be grateful for that. It is under the Adverse Action Daily, if you are looking for it. And I want to talk a little bit about what's in it real quickly. We'll just run through the headline topic. The president forgot what the Atlantic Ocean was called during Fox and Friends in the morning. And it really was a gaffe that we can add up to the growing number of them and frequency of them, as there are lots of people who are speculating whether he has cognitive decline on the best side of the spectrum and or dementia on the worst side of the spectrum. So medically, we don't have any evidence, from formal doctors to say one or the other in terms of diagnosis, but it is becoming evident, and the White House is doing its thing. So I referenced that in my daily article today. Also, I talk about the ninefold path of fighting a tyranny and a fascist takeover, and that's what we're really in the middle of. Pam Bondi is asserting her authority over Washington. We see a YouTube video come out from the governor there this morning. We see these fights being picked across the nation. Do remember there are over 300 of them active right at the moment. That is Trump cases where the administration or regime, whatever you want to call it, has been sued. Peaceful resistance perspective, we have a different message and a more hopeful message. Secondly, we have corruption, and that obviously is a big deal in the current administration. We see graft all over the place. Talk about disruption, which is something that works towards us who are resisting peacefully. Disruption is that passive tool that we can use. And the last thing that I talk about, besides money, is self-interest. And self-interest is really the thing that I'm working hard on, and I think we're starting to hone in on as the big motivator, because as 2026 arrives and our vote begins to count more and more for our local representatives, right now I have a fundamental thing I'd ask you to think about, and that is this. The people who are elected into the House of Representatives today that we would call in our districts, what's really happening there is those people go off to Washington and then they get committee assignments. Those become their full-time jobs, and that's the problem. With so much corruption between the committee level and the lobbyist level. Those are the two that talk. I'm going to wrap it up there today. Hey, thank you for joining me on this live. I appreciate it, and hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Please take some time for yourself to unplug from your digital devices, as I say in my article every day. I hope you'll do that, and I hope that you'll continue to be well. Thank you very much. Bye.